Hello everybody from Plant Reviews UK. Today is the 21st of May and I decided to show you a little bit of my fragrant garden. And these are my Cypriotpedium. I'm not sure what variety is the Cypriotpedium or what species. I published a few days ago a video about Cypriotpedium formosanum, but unfortunately I don't know what hybrid is this gorgeous species, and it is slightly fragrant. I'm not too sure really what to say about the fragrance, because it's kind of between sweet and like cut grass like, but it's very very light, so definitely regardless it's absolutely beautiful flowers. As you can see, it's not really an orchid that I can recommend for fragrance. Actually, you will find on my playlist about tropical orchid, indoor orchids, a lot of fragrant orchids, and I will put the description of course down below. Here I have another beautiful plant that is developing flower buds at the moment, and it is Podophyllum spottidotti. This is the Silus Podophyllum. It's absolutely gorgeous, for it's really nice marbled leaves, and the flowers are actually fragrant, are very difficult to describe. They're not really probably the most pleasant fragrance. They are kind of a hybrid between incense and kind of vomit. It's I can't really, if it's a very hybrid odor to describe, but still is a very unique fragrance, definitely. And I made a video about this species as well I think a couple of years ago. Here we start really with one of the most fragrant flowers of my garden. I didn't make a video yet. This is a hybrid Magnolia that is called Magnolia cross USDA, and I can already smell the fragrance from about half a meter far, and it's very citrusy like, and with some fruity notes as well. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the most stunning magnolia, well, already for the flower, you can see how beautiful it is, and the fragrance is absolutely gorgeous. Probably this is the first time that this magnolia bloom for me, and I think that this is actually the most fragrant of all the magnolias I have. Other magnolias I have are also fragrant. They have a medium to light fragrance, sometimes a little bit stronger, but definitely not as strong as this one. They are gorgeously fragrant. All the magnolias I have so far, I have a fragrance that I absolutely love, but this one in particular is the strongest. I'm sorry that the flowers, unfortunately, been kind of eaten by a slug or a snail. However, I have other two buds here, one here, and another one somewhere here. Yes, so I really hope to make a video soon with the whole flower rather than a munched one. Proceeding here, this is the shadiest part of my garden. I have my Azalea Pontica. Sorry, it's called Azalea Pontica, but actually the real name is Rhododendron luteum, and it is a very very fragrant rhododendron, really nice yellow, and in autumn actually the leaves becomes kind of orangey red, so I have to say its color is very interesting, both for the leaf color as well, not only for the fragrant and beautiful yellow flowers. Continuing here in the shady part of my garden, I have my Stauntonia hexaphylla, sorry, Stauntonia it's not the hexaphylla, sorry, this is the a nice species of Stauntonia that now I don't remember, but I have made a video a couple of years ago, and this is, we are almost at the end of the blooming here. You can see two flowers here, and when it's in full bloom, it was in full bloom a couple of weeks ago, the citrus scent spreading around the garden is absolutely incredible. I'm trying to let you see how the flowers look like. Yes, they are very small, but the fragrance is really big. So yes, this is definitely a plant I can recommend you. Actually, I think the species is Tontonia robusta, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I will write it down in the description what species is. Continuing here, I have a few honeysuckles. Here in this part of the flowers, the sun starts becoming a little bit stronger. We're going for the light shade to the partial shade, so this area of the garden receives full sun in the morning. And I have several varieties of honeysuckles, about which my favorite is definitely the Halliana, that whilst the honeysuckles intermingle, the Halliana just started to have a few buds, and it is probably the most fragrant of my honeysuckles so far, that at least I can think about. Here there is a plant that is not already in bloom, but has also a beautiful fruity fragrance. It's called Calicantos Venus. I have it in a pot. The reason why I have so many plants actually in a pot, in addition to obviously plant them in the garden, first of all, I don't have enough space for all the plants in the garden, but also in pots the conditions are more manageable, like more monitorable than in the garden. So if I have species that I'm not too sure how would fit in the garden, or how would the cultivation requirements, for to have them in pots, because some of these species have peculiar cultivation conditions. For example, I have here some tulip species. This is a beautiful rare species called Tulipa hogiana. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to make a video about this flower. It has a gorgeous, really red flowers with a black blotch in the center, but it doesn't last long. It lasted just a few days, and unfortunately I couldn't make a video. However, these kind of tulips have very strict requirements for cultivation, so I really need them in very well drained soil, and unfortunately my garden is mostly clay, so it's not suitable conditions for this species tulips. I also have a few varieties of lilies and irises here, and some of them are kind of blooming, and I hope they have buds. Not kind of blooming, sorry, they have already some buds. And as you can see, I have also here, this is a pumilum as a species. I made a video a couple of years ago as well, and this is the Nepalense. Is one of the most fragrant lilies, supposed to be fragrant mostly at night. Continuing the walk around my garden, you can see a few allium varieties and a few clematises. These are not clematis or alliums I can recommend for fragrance, but I love them because of the bright color as well, and alliums really are good for pollinators. Pollinators really love them. They have beautiful flowers, they have a multitude of flowers, and really they produce lots of nectars. Here I have the only iris currently in bloom, and this beauty is called Dracula's Kiss. It has a very, very dark purple flower with a orange beard. Unfortunately, you can't really see how dark it is because the sun is hitting it now, but even if you can't really appreciate how dark it is normally, when the sun hits it, it's still beautiful. You can see how purple this flower is. Continuing in this corner, this is actually the part of the garden that receives most sun, and the fragrant flowers I have here are irises, of course. They have a beautiful fragrance. This one in particular has a very sweet fragrance, and I have here my beautiful Jasmine Polyentum. This winter has been a bit cold, and some of the buds blasted. This species usually produces buds in autumn, so if the winter is very cold, they blast. Unfortunately, most of them blasted, but a few were able instead to continue developing. Probably the buds developed later, and as you can see here, this is called also pink jasmine, the Jasmine Polyentum, because the buds are pink, as you can see, while the flowers are white. and the fragrance is amazingly sweet. It's probably the most fragrant of my jasmines, or the jasmines I have in my garden, possibly the most fragrant of all. I have other species of jasmines as well, and none of them has a fragrance so strong. When this plant is in full bloom, I made a video a couple of years ago of a full bloom pink jasmine. The plant was covered in flowers. I could smell the plant meters away from, sorry, yeah, I could smell the flowers meters away from the actual plant. Continuing here in my this is the sunny area of my garden, I have again a few clematises as well. I have some camassea in flowers. Here I have a few daffodils as well and hyacinths, but now they are not in bloom, and actually some hyacinths are developing seed pods, so who knows, maybe I might decide to plant them and see what it grows. Here I have a very fragrant rose. I'm not too sure if somewhere is the label. Unfortunately I can't find it. I will make a video in the next few days, and I will give you the race, sorry, the breed of this rose, but the fragrance is very nice, very spicy and sweet, really incredible. Well, of course, these are my clematis, and here starting to flower is one of my favorite plants, possibly the most unusual of the scented flowers I have, and this is the pineapple broom, the Argyroschittus battandieri, that has a very bright yellow flower. You can see a flower at the back started developing, and it has a scent of like between pineapple and mango, very peculiar. Continuing here, I have almost at the end of bloom, but here I have still one nice flower spike of lilac Miss Kim. This is a Korean lilac, and in my opinion is one of the most fragrant, even more fragrant than many of the normal lilacs, Syringa vulgaris, you find in garden center. It really has a scent that permeates the whole garden. Continuing here, I have a few roses. The scent is really amazing, and unfortunately the varieties are very difficult to see because I have lots of plants. This one in particular is the, oh yes, no, this is not the white perfumella, this is a pink plant, and the variety here I'm sorry, I think I kind of lost the tag, so I'm sorry I'm not able to identify this rose. Then I have this yellow rose that is Corresia. This is a yellow rose that has a kind of lighter fragrance, spicy as well, Corresia, with K. I will write it in the description of the video below. And then I have another jasmine that is absolutely scentless, but it is the only jasmine that produces red magenta flowers that I know, and that's the Jasminum bassianum. Unfortunately it's scentless, and also it grows like a weed everywhere, as you can see. This is the Jasminum bassianum. Here, continuing here, I have the most fragrant of my clematises that now is not in bloom, and this is the Clematis armandii, but in addition to the beautiful flowers, it has amazingly bronzed new leaves. The new foliage, when it develops, is like this reddish bronze tinge, and you can see how gorgeous it is against the rest of the plants in the background. Other fragrant plants I have are these Oriental Lilies that are not in full bloom yet. I have Trumpet Lilies, Oriental Lilies, and also some Asiatic Lilies, but remember Asiatic Lilies don't have really a smell. Continuing here, I have the last of the fragrant plants I can show you in my back garden, and this is Syringa Palibin. That is another Korean lilac, also is a very good fragrance, and the combination of this with Miskim really makes my garden super fragrant in April and early May. And finally a plant that is in full bloom but unfortunately is not fragrant. It is beautiful Waratha, the Tolopea speciosissima. I will make a video about it because I absolutely love this the flower of this member of the family Proteaceae, and I believe this is actually probably the rarest plant I have in my garden. And finally, unfortunately, I can't really show you the blooms of this plant, but this is the Viburnum cross Barkwoodi, and this one has in very early spring, late winter, early spring, panicles, sorry, I think umbels, not panicles, but anyway, big balls of white flowers that have an incredible sweet scent, and just this plant really can perfume the whole garden. The last thing I wanted to show you about this very quick look at my garden are my hellebores, still in bloom. They bloom already from late winter, and now we are in late May, and you can still see the flowers. Actually, it's a very long blooming season. Unfortunately, this in particular is not fragrant. And then in the end we have a camassia. I have a few camassia as well, like Cliniae. They have beautiful purple flowers, loved by pollinators, but really I can't detect any scent. And one of the plants I love the most for fragrance but blooms only winter are the Sarcococcas. Most of the plants I describe in this video are available, of course, on my YouTube channel, and you find a playlist about most fragrant plants hardy in the UK and USDA 8, where I live because I live in Kent, in my playlist collection. Sarcococca is a very, very sweet fragrance, and in winter really again permeates the whole garden. It's actually nice also for the fruits that are black, really shiny when they start developing. Now they are almost dry. However, this plant is also great for foliage because it's an evergreen plant. And well, next to my Sarcococca you have Skimmias that also have a very nice fragrance, very nice citrus fragrance, and are also evergreen. So for the shade areas, if you need the flowers that bloom between winter and early spring, Sarcococcas and Skimmias are very good for shady places, moist, and like Rhododendron luteum and Stauntonia coriacea. Yes, it was not Stauntonia robusta, Stauntonia coriacea was the name of the plant I showed you. The climbing plant really make great in the in shady areas. So the plant that I show you the flower first, this is Stauntonia coriacea. Sorry, I think my capacity, my skills of remembering things are getting a little bit worse the more I age. Anyway, I hope to show you another video about my garden, my very messy garden, soon with more flowers in bloom, and of course possibly more tidiness as well. I might move the pots in the middle to my allotment and finally have a garden, a proper garden to sit down and enjoy nature. As usual, thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, it would be great if you can please give it a thumbs up. If you need more information about the plants I have in the video or any other plants I have in my YouTube channel, just put your comments and questions in the comments down below, and I will try to reply you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.